Daily Math Blast Week 5, 5 NBT 1, Place Value Relations. So our first question says, write the value of the 7 in each number. So I'm going to use my highlighter here, even though they're bold, just to make them a little easier there. Okay, so it says the value of the 7 in each number. So I know I'm going to have 7 of this place value. So all I need to determine is the place value. So in the first number, it's in the hundreds place, and I have 7 of them. So the value is 7 times 100, or 700. I could write that in word form or standard form. Now in my second number, the 7 is in the tenths place. Well, I have 7 of those tenths, so therefore the value is 7 tenths. So I could write that in standard form or word form. Now our next part of the question says, compare the value of the 9 in each number. Well, I have 2 9s, so let me change my color here. And they're underlined, but just to make them a little easier for us to see. Okay. So I have a 9 in the hundredths place and a 9 in the ones place. Well, I'm going to compare the 9 in the ones place to the 9 in the hundredths place. So to get the 9 in the hundredths place to the ones place, if you notice, that digit would have to move 1, 2 places. It has to make 2 shifts. Well, I know to shift a digit 2 places, each time I multiply by 10, it's going to move 1 place. So that's 2 shifts. So that's multiplying it by 10 and multiplying it by 10. So that's the same as multiplying it by 100. So what that tells me when I'm comparing the value is 9 ones is 100 times greater than 9 hundredths. Okay. I could have also compared the 9 hundredths to 9 ones, but that would involve dividing it by 10 twice. 5G3 classified triangles. Identify the triangle by sides and angles. Provide evidence for your side angle choices. Now we just have to go with the information that we're provided. So when I'm looking at this triangle, equilateral would be all 3 sides are the same. In this case, isosceles is all 3 or 2, but since I have equilateral, that would be 2 sides are the same. And scalene is all 3 sides are different lengths. So when I'm looking at this, I have to go by appearances. So it looks like this side, and this side are all equal lengths. That's what those marks right there mean. So I'm going to say that this is equilateral because all sides have equal lengths. Now, triangles always have 2 names, one by side and one by angle. So when I'm looking at the angles, I have 3 angles. I have this angle here, this angle here, and this angle here. So those are my 3 angles. Now, when I'm determining the name by angle, I look first to see, is there a right angle in that triangle? Well, we know a right angle is exactly 90 degrees. The quick reference is usually the corner, like the corner of a piece of paper. So I'm looking for that perfect L shape, and none of those angles are matching that, so it is not right. Then the next step is I look for an obtuse angle, and that obtuse angle is greater than a right angle, so it's larger than that 90 degrees. So I'm looking at that, and again, if I need to, I can turn the paper to make it a little easier. I do not see an obtuse angle. So if I don't find a right angle and I don't find an obtuse angle, then the triangle must be acute. So angles are acute because all angles are acute angles. So it's acute because all the angles are acute angles. The reason this is important is all triangles have acute angles. They all have acute angles. For it to be an acute triangle, all 3 must be acute. 5 NBT 7I, adding decimals. So we have 9 and 27 hundredths plus 6 and 4 tenths. Now we have several different strategies here. The first one, I'm going to use the place value strategy. And then the second one, I'm going to use a traditional algorithm, a standard algorithm. So 9 and 27 hundredths plus 6 and 4 tenths. I'm going to have the ones place. So let's do tens, ones, tenths. I'm going to use this to kind of squeeze it in, and then hundredths. So kind of squeezing it in there. Switch my colors up so it's a little easier. So I'm going to build my first number, 9 and 27 hundredths. So I have 7 hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2 tenths. And 9 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And now I'm building 6 and 4 tenths. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch my color again to make it a little easier to see everything. So I have my numbers built, and now we know that if I have 10, I can bundle those together and move them to the next place value. So that's what I'm going to check here. And I'm going to put my total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the hundredths place. So nothing changed there. Now tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 tenths. So nothing changed there. Here is my decimal point. Now my ones, I have more than 10 ones. So I'm going to count those up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to group those together. Move those over here to become a 10. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 remaining. So 5 ones. And then I just have the 1 10. So 9 and 27 hundredths plus 6 and 4 tenths is 15 and 67 hundredths. Now, for the next one, I'm going to do a standard algorithm. So important here is I'm going to use my decimal point. I'm going to line up all the place values. Then I'm going to find the value in each place value and regroup as necessary. So first I have 45 and 39 hundredths. So 45 and 39 hundredths. So I got my tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. And now my next number is 12 and 8 tenths. So I have an 8 in the tenths place. I have my decimal point, 2 in my ones, and a 1 in my tenths. And that's the important thing, is you have to line up those place values, just like in my place value model. Now this is addition. Now if you look, to make it a little easier, I'm going to be adding in the hundredths place first. Well, 12 and 8 tenths, there are 0 hundredths. So I'm going to put that in there, just to make it a little easier for me. So now we have 9 plus 0 hundredths is 9. 3 tenths plus 8 tenths is 11 tenths. So 10 of those can be bundled and made into a 1. Now I have 1 tenth remaining. I have my place value, my decimal point. Help me line up my place values there. 1 plus 5 ones plus 2 ones is 8 ones. And 4 tenths plus 1 10 is 5 tenths. So 45 and 39 hundredths plus 12 and 8 tenths is 58 and 19 hundredths. So we could have also solved that one using the place value model. Okay, 5 MBT 7 II, subtracting decimals. So in the first problem, we have 17 and 95 hundredths minus 9 and 6 hundredths. So I'm going to use a place value strategy for this one. So I have tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. So tens and ones, tenths, and hundredths. And I'm writing those in fractional form just to save a little bit of space there. Okay. Now, first I'm going to build my 17 and 95 hundredths. So I have 5 in the hundredths spot. 2, 3, 4, 5. 9 tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 110. And if you notice, I put my place value counters in groups of 5. It makes it far easier to keep track of and count them, and it keeps everything a little neater and easier to keep track of. So now I have 9 and 600s. Now notice in this one I'm subtracting, so I'm going to remove counters. I'm going to cross these off. So switch our colors here. Let's go green. So first I'm going to cross off 6 hundredths. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't have enough hundredths. So I'm going to need to decompose a tenth. So I'm going to cross off this tenth, and I'm going to move it over, and that's going to become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. And now I have 6 hundredths that I can cross off. So I can cross off these 5 hundredths and one of these. And so if you notice, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hundredths remaining. So I've eliminated my 6 hundredths, and I have 9 hundredths remaining. Now I need to take away 0 tenths, so now I just need to count my tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to have my place value. Now I need to cross off 9 ones. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ones. So again, I'm going to have to go to my tenths and decompose and bring it over. And now I'm going to cross off 9 of these. So here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And all of my tens are gone because I decomposed the only 10 I had. So I have 8 and 89 hundredths. $15 minus 3 and 45 hundredths. I'm going to use that same place value strategy for this one. So I need tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. So tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. Okay. And now I just need to build my first number, so 15. So I have 1 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Now, I need to subtract or cross off 3 ones, 4 tens, and 5 hundredths. Well, right now, the problem is I don't have any tenths or hundredths, so I'm going to have to do some decomposing. So I'm going to go to my ones place, cross off a 1, bring that over, and that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tenths. Well, I still need to cross off some hundredths, so I'm going to cross off one of my hundredths, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I have enough hundredths, enough tenths, enough ones to cross all these off. So I need to cross off 5 hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's that row right there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 remaining. So that's a 5. Now I need to cross off 4 tenths. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be those right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need to cross off 3 ones. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 1 and my ones remaining there. Put my decimal point in there before I forget. And I'm not taking away any tens, so that 10 just stays there. So that's 1 10. So 15 minus 3 and 45 hundredths is 11 and 55 hundredths. 5 MBT 7 II. Multiply decimals. So we have 3 and 25 hundredths multiplied by 6. Now, I have 2 steps. The first thing they want me to do is estimate the product. So I'm going to estimate these. Generally, what I'd like to do is take them to the nearest whole number because it gives me a nice quick estimate. So 3 and 25 hundredths, well, I have to determine is that closer to 3 or to 4? Well, I know 3 and 50 hundredths or 3 and 5 tenths is kind of that midpoint. So I'm going to round that to 3. And then 6 is a really easy number to multiply by, so I'll just multiply by 6. So 3 multiplied by 6 is 18. Now, what this tells me is when I'm multiplying, since I rounded 3 down and I left the 6 alone, so 3 and 25/100ths multiplied by 6, and I have my estimate of 3 multiplied by 6. Since I rounded down, I know 18 is a little low, so my answer should be slightly more than 18 if I work it out correctly. Okay, in solving this one, I'm going to use an area model. So when I set it up, I'm multiplying by 6, so I'm going to put a 6 here, and I'm going to draw my box. And if you look, my number has 3 place values. So I have 3 ones. I have 2 tenths. And 5 hundredths. Okay. In setting up the area model, you'll find it very useful to convert it to unit form. So I just have the value of each digit in that number. And now I'm just going to multiply each of those pieces by 6, keeping the units. So I know 6 multiplied by 5 hundredths, well, 6 multiplied by 5 is 30 hundredths. So 30 hundredths. 6 multiplied by 2 tenths, well, 6 multiplied by 2 is 12, and it's 12 tenths. And 6 multiplied by 3 ones, well, 6 multiplied by 3 is 18, or 18 ones. Okay. Now I just need to convert each of these into a standard form so I can find the sum. So I can add these up. So 30 hundredths. Well, I know that every 10 hundredths make 1 tenth. So I have 3 tens there. So I have 3 tenths. So 30 hundredths is equal to 3 tenths. 0, 3 tenths right there. Now, 12 tenths. I know 10 tenths make 1 whole. So 10 of those are going to make a 1, and I would have 2 tenths remaining, so 1 and 2 tenths. 18 ones, I know 10 ones make a 10, and then 8 ones would be remaining, so 18. And I need to find the sum of each of these. I could use many different strategies. I could use a traditional algorithm. I could use place value just for practice. I'm going to use a place value, so I have tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. So when I'm looking here, I have 3 tenths. Change my color here, so I have 3 tenths. 1, 2, 3. And that's everything for this one. 1 and 2 tenths, so 2 more tenths, and 1, 1. And here I have 18 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 10. Now, when I'm totaling this up, I have 0 hundredths. So we know with the decimal, I could put the 0 there. I could just kind of leave that. So tenths, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. And then here's my decimal point. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ones. And then I have 1 10. So I know that 18 plus 1 and 2 tenths plus 3 tenths is 19 and 5 tenths. So that's my answer there. And then I go back to my estimate of 18. Remember I said 18 should be low, so my number should be a little bit more than 18. 19 and 5 tenths is very reasonable. This was Daily Math Blast Week 5. Thank you.